Welcome back to another episode of Hands Away with Trimble and Angelone. We're calling it week 4 rather than fallow week, and just because fallow week sounds a bit agricultural for us. But hold it against us if you want. This is week 4 of Hands Away. We chat about the Six Nations Trophy being burned. We chat about potentially new laws around the Scrum. Chat about the English Premiership no longer having promotion or relegation. We chat about South African steroid allegations. And we talk through loads of listener questions. Thank you so much for everybody who sent those in. And we did a quiz with Trimble on his involvement in the Six Nations, which was very good fun. That's at the end of the episode. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Make sure you leave a comment and a review. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe and leave a comment if you have any questions or thoughts or just abuse from front row players. Mostly, we're always up for receiving that. But we hope you enjoy the episode and see you at the end. It's Hands Away. Are we calling this week 4? Because it's not week 4 of the Six Nations, but I guess it is week 4 of the Six Nations.
Yeah, week 4. I think let's go with that. Fallow week. You know, the word fallow was invented specifically for this week. Some people think it was invented for agriculture.
For farming. So the week off of the Six Nations, actually.
Uh-huh.
But we're back and we're now big famous podcasters, friends with Jamie Dornan. It's, listen, the views and listens were sort of a damning indictment of our poll versus Dornan's poll.
I didn't say that much. He's just so beautiful. I'd say there'd be a lot more views than listens for last week's podcast.
Yeah. If we could get the Spotify, if you could send us the analytics on who's using the new video function on Spotify. And it is the first episode I've put on YouTube because you can't have Dornan on and not put it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's a crime. To have Dornan coming through audio is a crime. So that's playing to your weaknesses, that.
Yeah, absolutely. For goodness sakes, who cares?
That's like Ireland Scrum. Like? That's like Ireland scrummaging more often. So that is.
Yeah, calling a mark and going for a scrum. Imagine that. Imagine Osborne at the back in his 22, bang, scrum. All the forwards look at him like,
what are you doing? We're shit at that.
Dornan on the audiobooks, class. Unbelievable scenes. Updates. I feel like bizarrely a lot has happened in the fallow week of the Six Nations. There's a lot of sort of general rugby news, but also we reached out to our dear listeners and viewers, crucially, from last week to send in questions and topics for us to cover. And then a guy who works for or runs a sports statistics company called Opta. He sent over a 6-page thing of like facts about the upcoming weekend of the Six Nations, which I haven't read and won't read. But it feels like, do you know the thing that like commentators would have in front of them?
Yeah.
Of like, Wales haven't won here since dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum. Like, do you ever see a commentator prep for a game?
Yeah, I co-commed, but the commentator guys, they're very
unbelievable.
Talented. They're absolutely brilliant, to be fair. Because I've arrived at 1 or 2 games and there's been some technical issue or maybe the commentator's late. And I'm going, if I have to do that job, I'm not going to win any hearts for rugby.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You're just doing that O'Gara thing of he's in.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. All of the stats and data and numbers and all that. Some of it can be really insightful and really that is really interesting because the perception is one thing, but the numbers tell you something completely different. Those are nice stories to tell, but if you get into the habit of just quoting stuff, throwing stuff out, Ulster haven't. I heard one interesting thing. Robbie Henshaw, when I was co-coms for the Cardiff Leinster game at the weekend, Robbie Henshaw hadn't played a professional club game in Wales in 8 years.
Like how? Like that seems absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's the Irish system. Like that, they just send the Muppets to Wales, and he's a Muppet now, but he was not a
He's
Muppet for the last 8
yeah,
years.
yeah. He's a recent Muppet.
Yeah, he's just graduated, or he's been
One of the
degraded to
two
Muppet
classes,
status.
you've got Muppets and you've got rugby
Muppets and
players.
internationals, really.
Muppets and international.
Yeah. Are you a Muppet or international? I'm going to have to push you for an answer here, and it is binary.
Dun, 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 dun. But it's all very exciting. We'll talk a little bit, I think, about that's been a big, a lot of people angry at our clip about making fun of Wales, which I thought was us being kind to Wales.
Yeah.
Because we said we wanted to slag them off and not patronise them by just saying that it's all really sad that they're not there. By respecting them, we slagged them off, but they were all going, how many wooden spoons have you got? How many Grand Slams have you got? And then there was a lot of quoting of the Cardiff-Leinster score. So we'll check in with you about that as somebody who was on comms.
It shifted my mindset in relation to Welsh rugby. I no longer feel sorry for them. I got reminded of that, 10, 12-year period where they were dominant.
Yeah.
And there was a cockiness to Welsh rugby that was it was worse than English. Like it was, there's a swagger to them at the time, and I find anyway. I'm back there now. Those two, that's how fickle I am. Those two comments in our Instagram video has changed my complete mindset over Welsh rugby.
Say what you like about English rugby. Nobody had hair as tall as Gavin Henson. That was an absolutely ridiculous period for the game.
Yeah, he nailed it, didn't he? Gavin Henson had a very short career, but really moved the needle in that period.
Yeah, he was unbelievable in EA Sports Rugby 06. That is a lot of people have a lot of love for Rugby 08, but my childhood rugby game was Rugby 06. And it was just Gavin Henson, like you could, a penalty anywhere in front of your own 10-meter line. And they'd animated his kick run up really mad. You know the way he leant forward so much?
It was quite,
He looks like the Hunchback of Notre Dame in the game.
Someone told me, I'm not sure if it was that rugby game or another one, but someone told me that my character in their rugby game, I was a black guy who couldn't catch the ball, apparently. And only one of those is true. That's the problem that I have.
Surely that must have been a rugby challenge rather than an EA Sports official. That's an unlicensed game. I've owned those before where they've got sort of approximations of, like, Pro Evo is the classic football one, but approximations of all the different rugby players, and you're like, your name would be like Danny Trimble or something.
Yeah, so you can't afford to get Trimble. I would give you that for cheap. You get that. That would be very, very cost effective.
Has there been? You must have been in a. Were you in Rugby 08 or is that?
I should have been.
Yeah. You would have been. That'd be interesting. Maybe we should get your stats up for next week to see what you're. I'm gonna get that stats guy to do a stats breakdown of the Rugby 08 rankings of all the Ireland team at that time and different wingers from around the world and see how your pace metric matches.
Yeah, 08 wouldn't have been a high point. I'm already embarrassed about what he's going to come back with.
Class. But the first bit of news that's tragic, devastating news: the Six Nations Trophy has been burnt.
Yeah,
I don't really understand what's going on here.
I don't get it. So it's the Six Nations Trophy. I've been at events, HSBC events, like sponsors, like kind of lead title sponsors events, where they have the trophy. It's either in a case or if it's out, people move it with white gloves. So they take loads of care over it. Apart when they're obviously just driving around in a van and it's just rattling around the back, and this guy crashes and blows it up.
Why is it loose at the back of a van?
But even before that happened, like, what is the one time they let people really go for it is after they've just won a Six Nations and they're getting pissed and they're tossing it around the bar. Yeah. So you either treat it with incredible respect with gloves, be very careful with it, or you're drinking Heineken from it or Guinness from it or whatever.
Because you sent that story over and I was like, I looked at the trophy and then searched back through my photos and found a picture of me from when I was 12 with the Six Nations trophy. And I was like, that's not the same Six Nations trophy. And I only found out today that they only updated the Six Nations trophy to include Italy in 2015.
Yeah, I knew they changed it in 2015.
But that was the first time since 1993 that it had changed. So it was
hilarious.
technically the Five Nations trophy.
Yeah, we'll have to put that picture up of you with the trophy as well. You look like a gay Stuart Hogg, is what you look like.
That was the height of my playing days, not making the team for the International Festival of Rugby at Malone Rugby Club at under 12. So being selected for the Barbarians at the International Festival of Rugby.
Did you fall for it at the time, though? At the time, did you think, oh, I'm a barbarian? Or did you think, I know I'm a loser here, I know how to be picked with my mates?
And then the next year, I got picked for the I-14, the International Festival of Rugby, and I was really, really buzzing. But I sat on the bench the whole time and came on for literally the last play of every game, not even the last 5 minutes, the last play of every game I was brought on. And I was like, what? At that point, I sort of appreciated being a barbarian the year before.
Yeah.
Because it was like, well, at least I was playing rugby, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's we had a rugby tournament at the weekend, our rugby game at the weekend. My young fella, who's 10, is in P7. We were playing against Larne, and Larne steamrolled our lads a couple of months ago, and we had them so fired up for it. They were ready to run through walls, and there were a few big kids in Larne, and it reminded me of mini rugby the way it should be. And it's rousing. The parents are shouting. Everybody's having the crack. It's exciting. There's tries. There's big hits, and all the mums are like can't watch, but all the dads are like, "Go on, son, get stuck in." And I remember it. It's so powerful. I said to my young fella, I was like, I remember playing mini rugby tournaments when I was your age, and you'll never forget. I remember the big moments. I remember the tries. I remember who we were playing against, and it's so powerful. And it was really nice to see the dad's version of that at the weekend.
Did you ever play for the Barbarians? Is this a stupid question?
No, it's not at all, because I didn't play for like the proper Barbarians. I played for I was 21 or something, and I don't even think I'd played for Ulster yet. I'd played for Ireland under 21s, I think. And myself and Ian Humphreys, David Humphreys' younger brother, we both went across and played against the combined forces. So it was like I've got a Barbarians tie, and I'm a barbarian, same as you.
Similar vibes at the
but I think you and I
are
we're the same category of barbarians, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I wonder how, would you have liked to? Barbarians suits certain players, that like to throw the ball around and are a bit rogue and all that sort of things. I assume you would have liked to play for the Barbarians if the offer came up.
Yeah, it would have been. It's. They talk about meet a lot of different players from different countries, different a few days crack as well, a few days out drinking, having the crack, and then go on. And my thing was, I always worried that I wasn't talented enough. I was only ever good enough if I was really professional. And I was like, could we just tighten things up a little bit? I'd love to know where I'm supposed to be at that third rock. I'm not really. I haven't got a barbarian spirit, let's just say.
Yeah, organizing the defensive structures. Hold, and everything going, what?
Game management. Put it in the corner. Let's turn the screw on these lads.
Yeah. No, I think our best kicker should hit the conversion.
Yeah, call me old-fashioned.
But they said they're going to remake it, and the Six Nations Trophy this is, and they've been very specific that it'll take 365 hours to make a new one.
That sounds like spoof.
Yeah, that sounds like a contractor quoting how long it's going to take to do your kitchen.
Yes. Yeah, well, I've never made a Six Nations trophy before, but I would imagine it's going to take this many hours.
Kicking the tires of the old Six Nations trophy going, you've had some cowboys in here.
Yeah, exactly. It did strike. I thought it was fitting that after 10 years, 11 years of that last trophy, that it looked kind of burnt out and beat up, because that's how players feel and look after an 11-year Six Nations career.
Yeah, 100%. But they're going to make a new trophy using the materials of the old trophy.
Right, okay.
And then for this Six Nations, it'll be like a replica. An identical replica is what they've said. There's a lot of conspiracy theories being thrown around. Was it the Welsh Rugby Union putting in a hit on this van? And a lot of Scotland fans going, I bet we win it this year when there's no trophy.
Yeah. Because the last time Scotland, didn't they win they won in 99, was it? Like the
I don't
Five
know, maybe.
Nations. And then it felt like that was the last time. I think they won that Five Nations in 1999, and then the next year everybody else just went, well, we're changing the tournament now.
Yeah.
So like, well done with that, but we're actually moving on to something different. We've got no time to enjoy that.
Scotland can't be winning this, actually. No way. Let's bring in another country just to make sure there's no chance.
Yeah.
What else is the rugby news? There's people petitioning. I think it's like mainly the Australia and New Zealand rugby unions of having big meetings in London with a few other sort of rugby nations, I think, to talk about the new rules going forward, particularly with a focus on like making the scrum a less important part of the game, which I think we should take credit for that, for our discussion around the scrum and just making fun of it so much that we've got World Rugby rattled.
Yeah, we are pioneers, aren't we, at this stage? It's not a coincidence that if that's the theme for what they're looking to do to reduce the influence of the scrum, that the South Africans weren't invited to that meeting.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it was a meeting room with a really like narrow doorway. Sorry, Elizabeth, you just can't fit in.
Sorry, mate.
Don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Maybe go on a diet. But I don't know that like they've apparently they're trialing some of it. So from a free kick, you can't take a scrum. Like they're trialing that in some leagues. And but there's discussion around replacing the scrum with a maul, but I don't understand how you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That confuses me to no end.
Like a scrum is just an organized maul.
It is a maul, effectively, isn't it?
The ball's on the ground, I guess. But what's the difference? You just hand it to the hooker, which you might as well do now. Anyway.
Yeah. I thought that was already the case, but the free kick and you can't scrum again. But,
is it? Have they brought that out? Sorry,
Yeah, I thought it was anyway, but I get as you know, I don't pay an awful lot of attention to the scrum. But yeah, I do feel like and again, we'll just pick up where we left off here in abuse of the scrums. We've alienated all front
There's no
runners.
more forwards listening to this.
Yeah,
forwards can't fit AirPods in their ears. This is the beauty of.
So, I feel like the scrum could benefit from just. I don't understand why. Sorry, I don't think they should necessarily be fussy about having to scrummage straight. I think you should like it's if you're wrestling each other in the scrum in the front row, you're just wrestling each other. So just push, and like whoever comes out on top wins, and then you just give the ball to the lads that have more crack and do more fun things with the ball.
Count down to the comments from props going, that's how I broke my spine in 1987.
And the maul is the other one. I think they should fix some things around the maul as well. Do you ever see mauls where lads they kind of they do, so what I learned about the maul was the hard way. I did what all those kind of, you see idiot centers running in or wingers running in, joining the back of the maul, and you go, okay, now is my time to shine, and it makes no impact on the maul whatsoever. If anything, it just gets more kind of disorganized.
You're sort of just up against it.
Yeah.
Going,
I joined the maul one time when Rory Best was beside me. And I just got in there. I was so excited to be there. I just started like pumping my legs, really trying to move the needle here. And I could see this look at him. He was like, would you calm down? Because there's kind of a skill to it. You kind of feel where it's kind of softens, and then you shear off that way, and then you kind of shear off that way a little bit. It's not just everybody push as hard as you can.
It's all vibes.
Yeah, a little bit of vibes in there. Yeah. It's all like Olivia Dean. You just go, it's just vibes, and I wasn't feeling those vibes. But it annoys me. See when a maul kind of not shears off, but just kind of moves towards like one side.
Yeah.
Starts to soften. What happens to the back of the defensive maul? They kind of fishtail round, or they get squirted out the side, and they end up being right beside the ball, right beside the guy holding the ball. I'm like, if you're getting physically dominated at maul time, then you shouldn't be in a better position, because it just compromises the shape of the maul and going forward. So I have an issue with that as well, and feels like, well, if our guys are dominating them and kind of just starting to move forward, then they should be on top. in terms of how the ref
Yeah,
sees it.
and there's a lot of chat about like, is just sort of leaguifying rugby union to the point of like, what are the differentiating factors of rugby union to rugby league, and what are the exciting things that differentiate it from like other sports generally? And I saw somebody talking about they brought some Americans to watch a rugby match, and they were like amazed by the line out lifting and by the scrum.
Uh-huh.
They've essentially made like two trucks out of eight lads and hammered them into each other like every 5 minutes or whatever. And then the lifting, like those are two things that I don't think we comprehend because we have watched rugby and know rugby like so like familiarly. That nothing like that happens in any other sport, really. You have the sort of Aussie rules jumping up that high, but they're not really getting lifted.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like in American football, like they've seen guys carry a ball and like sidestep and do all those other bits. But the different points, and maybe what rugby union should highlight, are scrum and line out. But I don't like, I think the feed would help. And even when we were talking about it, I don't think we were saying like the scrum shouldn't be a focus of the game and it shouldn't be somewhere where you can like
Yeah.
dominate the other team. What we were saying is, or like my initial point when we brought it up was you shouldn't just start hemorrhaging players to yellow cards
Mm-hmm.
because we all want to see 15 against 15 or like at most 15 against 14. So there's some gaps that you can take advantage of for 10 minutes or whatever. But this idea that you just get yellow and yellow and yellow and yellow, like I just don't think that's helpful for anybody. It doesn't make it a good spectacle. Perfect case is that Ireland South Africa game.
Yeah. And just rugby, I suppose, even talking about mini rugby, like there's all shapes and sizes. There's all
Mm,
kids can go in there. You've either got the little nippy lad who's going to, take the piss out of fatter lads, or you've got the big lad who's going to steamroll the little lad. And that is the crux of everything. That's the
mm,
beauty of it. There's a place for everyone, whatever size you are, shape, size, whatever. And I love that. And I love the fact that the scrum is the time for the big lads to show off and get the ball out wide. And then once the ball gets out wide, then it's time for the little lads to kind of sidestep each
mm,
other, burn each other. And even like kicking, passing, high ball reception, all that sort of stuff. There's someone specifically, that's their specific skill set. Now they have to be able to
mm,
contribute in all different other ways. Everybody needs to be able to tackle. Everybody needs to be able to catch, pass, whatever, those sorts of things. And the more well-rounded you are, yes, the better you're going to be. But there's guys who specialize in those, and I have no problem at all. The big
yeah,
lads, now's your time to shine at scrum time, and it's
yeah,
it's an alpha environment. You see, like Ferrari against Ireland, the Italian tight head,
mm,
like really was fired up after he won that scrum penalty and just went over the top and just rubbed it in the noses. Like that's kind of visceral and emotional and exciting, and that's a big part of the game, and I love that as well. But all we're saying is it's totally sensible for us to make that suggestion that if you can't do it, then you shouldn't just get yellow carded. That's
yeah,
not.
because it's demoralizing enough. Like as somebody who's played 9 and 10 for most of my time playing rugby, I think that like it's demoralizing enough when you have absolutely no platform to work
Hmm.
from the scrum that you're like being stomped on by the number 8 going backwards as you're trying to get the ball away at 9, or you're getting the ball going backwards at 10 and they're coming forward. And it's just like, you can't build anything from that anyway. So I just think there's enough of an advantage from just dominating the scrum that it should just be that you dominate the scrum and that's it. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean?
Yeah, you get cleaner ball. If you dominate the breakdown, then what happens? You get quick ball, you get tempo, you get gain lines. Same thing, if you dominate the scrum, then you should have a perfect platform to launch from and give your backs a perfect opportunity. Or not necessarily your backs, eight breaking, whatever, any
Yeah.
sort of creativity. But I would like there to be some creativity off the back of it.
And maybe a solution is this sort of feed thing where it's like if somebody's dominating physically and like driving the other team back, if the feed's straight, then it's going to be turned over rather than just this penalty shite with the ball at the sort of weaker team's eight's feet. And then it gets collapsed, and then it's just, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
because that's quite like a scrum turnover is quite an exciting platform to
Because it's
play
novel.
from as well. Yeah, yeah,
Even when you until you said that there, it never occurred to me that that can actually happen. Just when you said that, oh yeah, that actually is a possibility.
yeah. It's definitely much more common at like lower level again because I think they referee it more strictly
Yeah,
at lower level. Like we get pinged for like not straight at the scrum, and you sort of like, and then you go into the clubhouse after and watch the Six Nations and go, come on, like
yeah,
you're looking at the ref having a pint and going, come on, what are
yeah,
we
yeah.
talking about
He's
here?
there, is he? He's like he's queued up for the
It
abuse.
depends how the game's gone,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
the
If he's
ref's
been
there or
popular,
not there.
yeah. If he's been a hometown hero, he'll go into the changing or into the bar afterwards. The
Yeah.
feed is important, I suppose, because if the hooker has to hook, then you've basically just got one less foot in the ground and less stability around all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. So you're kind of rolling the dice a little bit with how stable your scrum
That
is,
also
and if
means
they
the
have,
defensive scrum, their hooker might actually like go for
yeah,
it and try and hook the ball
yeah, and then obviously compromise their kind of
in both
unity or
directions.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's like that option of like, do you put a man up at the line out when you might be weaker when you get to the maul? It's like
hmm
you just want more of these dilemmas and decisions that people have to make where it's like the opposition hooker, the defensive hooker isn't even thinking about that at the minute.
yeah,
And I just think it's sort of the scrum isn't supposed to be. I got told off when I was on the for the love of rugby like creator day thing for saying that the line out should be more of a competition like 50-50 and the scrum should be more of a competition 50-50. It's like it's not a penalty. You shouldn't just definitely get the ball. It's supposed to be a way to reintroduce the ball to play like with a contest to it.
uh-huh.
And I feel like we've almost entirely lost the contest from the scrum other than the method of getting penalty, whereas I just think the ball should be more up for grabs than the penalty being up for grabs.
Yeah, it should be, I suppose, like if you think about it, the reason why you get the scrum is because they've knocked the ball on. So there should be
Mm-hmm.
an advantage to us being on our feed. So if it's 75-25 or something, then that I don't know, but there shouldn't be yellow cards and all that sort of stuff constantly in the game because you lose whatever you lose about. They get the advantage because they're on top, and then you lose 15 versus 15. You definitely lose something from the game. It
Yeah.
takes away from it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The English Premiership no longer has promotions or relegations. I'm not sure. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's people who will explain why this is financially good and why it'll prevent people like Worcester folding or like Wasps folding or like like any of these things where the teams that are sort of yo-yoing up and down, but it doesn't feel great to me, and it doesn't feel like it feels like France are the sort of shining example of a country who have really built a brilliant rugby system throughout their club game and their youth game and like through to the internationals. And we are doing the opposite of what they do in that they have two huge divisions of professional teams, and England have just sort of like scrapped that now.
Yeah, I don't know what the numbers are in France compared to England, but it feels like France have they have the luxury of being able to do that because they've got so many rugby players and so many eyeballs
Mm.
that want to watch rugby. Huge market, huge opportunity, and that's why they've got two full leagues of professional teams. I think it feels a little bit risky for Six Nations to do that. I mean, it's ring fenced as well. There's no opportunity for Georgia to
Mm.
come into that at the minute, and English Premiership, like guys who are investing in rugby. I mean, we desperately need more funding, more investing in rugby, seeing the upside. But if an investor kind of was likely to hold off because he's thinking, well, this team could get relegated here, and I'll just back down my assets worth nowhere near as much as it was whenever I started investing, then it's a risk that's going to put guys off. You're going to get less cash, less kind of commercial viability in the game.
Mm.
I would suggest that's probably the rationale for what they're doing there. But it does seem a little bit. It seems less genuine, I suppose, because it's artificially created this. Well, there's not as much downside.
Mm.
Six Nations doesn't suffer from it being ring fenced. It's always amazing. No matter
Yeah.
what, you don't need the jeopardy of being relegated from Six Nations to have a brilliant product, and we've demonstrated that. Even NFL, NHL, NBA, there's no relegation in any of
I
them
guess
either.
you'd just be frustrated if you were like a recently relegated team who were in the Prem in the last, 4 or 5 years,
Yeah,
and you have aspirations to go back up again. And I remember like it being very exciting when a team like Exeter Chiefs sort of came onto the scene in the Prem, and
yeah,
it was like, oh my God, like, they're doing very, very well coming up here. And it's like these success stories I think are exciting. And like we've seen with like the Leicester football in the Premier League, like Leicester coming up and winning that. I think that led to more like investors and more money coming in, and like people like your Ryan Reynoldses and Rob McElhenney
Uh-huh.
trying to get Wrexham this like promotion run. So what I'm saying is we need Jamie Dornan to buy a shit rugby team
Yeah.
and like find a mate like him and somebody else. I don't know who the other Hollywood star is that's going to join Dornan in creating like the Wrexham of rugby.
Yeah.
But I think we're lacking in that. I mean, it's impossible in like Ireland and stuff, but maybe they buy like one of the Italian teams
Yeah.
and they go on this like mad run, and you know what I mean?
He could co-invest with his co-star from 50 Shades. What was her name?
Dakota Johnson.
Yeah. The two of them, I think, would be a great combo.
Perfect. 50 Shades of Richie Gray. He can be the coach.
Yes. Yeah. Only because the pun works. And that's the
No
main
other
reason why he
reason. I
gets
don't
the
think he's a
job.
particularly tactically insightful player whatsoever, but like I just think we need it for the branding, Richie. You
Yeah.
got to get involved on the ground floor here.
You definitely do miss something. The Exeter thing is a perfect example, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, look at someone like Gareth Steenson, who came through all the way with Exeter, got promoted with them, went all the way, won the Prem, and did he win Europe as well? But he was the whole way through that journey. That's a romantic story, lovely story.
Yeah.
We definitely lose elements of that with, kind of artificially ring fencing. But I can see the rationale for it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it, I guess. There's another quickly on this one, another sort of rumors that there's been a huge dip in South African steroid testing, which coincided with their sort of rampant success in international rugby. So they were
Uh-huh.
like, they're the most charged with doping nation in rugby, like by a mile. And they've had the most players banned through that. But there was a dip of like, it was like 400 and something players were tested, like South African rugby players were tested in like, I think it was 2011 or something like that. But then in like 2015, I think there was like 100. So there's this like huge dip, and there was a Telegraph article about it today of like,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know what happens if it's this sort of like, could we be seeing like a Tour de France like retrospective?
Stripping of medals.
They look steadied up. I'll say that much.
Uh-huh.
That
Yeah.
picture that Stephen Ferris posted years
Yeah.
ago in the
Yeah.
changing room.
I'd love to know what sort of feedback you got from that, because we all know, and we may well get some comments ourselves, we know there's a lot of South African internet gremlins out there who tend to kind of seep into all the deepest, darkest recesses of every YouTube comments page.
It's not our fault. We're massive. We're just big boys.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's in it. I mean, they would have said in the past, obviously, with Craven Week, you would have heard about Craven Week and how that would have just been those would have been the rumors in the past that would have been kind of rife for drugs and stuff. Like this is like 20 years ago, and just more generally, they all look stacked. And we always hear like the Irish perspective of this, genetically, we're not going to be able to cope with these big. Well, maybe if we started taking drugs.
Because there are these like the enhanced games. Have you heard about these?
Yes.
Somebody started an Olympics where you can just do whatever you want.
Yeah. Is scrummaging an enhanced game?
It seems to be.
So it used to be back in the day. I remember maybe halfway through my career, the first half, it was random drug testing. And then they changed it. And after the game, it was no longer random. Like they pull a number out of a hat, like 1 to 23. It was specifically that guy, and that guy. We're going to drug test them. And so I remember always feeling like if I was ever picked to be drug tested, I remember feeling
Big compliment.
Pretty complimented. Yeah, must have had a good game, did it?
And then just like Stringer sat there like, why am I never picked?
I've never been tested once.
I'm the least tested athlete in world rugby. We always joke about that at our level because we're like the league I play in London is like it's an untested league, and I think it's one of the first ones in the tiers that like they don't do any testing for, and there's a lot of sort of banter in the changing room of like, why don't we all just fucking why don't we all just come back massive next season? Why don't we just all get on steroids, all get on tea, and come back with it like the same changing room picture as the South Africans?
Amazing barbecue. MLR. There's no drug testing in America.
What's MLR?
Major League Rugby over in the States.
No testing.
There's no drug testing over there. It's the Wild West.
Surely there's a fairly clear funnel there from banned NFL athlete to MLR superstar.
I know you'd have thought it, but yeah, but I couldn't believe when I heard that. And obviously, America has a long way to catch up, and this is the jewel in the crown, moving forward and opportunities to
Mm,
kind of professionalize the game and grow the game, all that sort of stuff. But there's not even that's kind of a demonstration of how far American rugby has to go. There's not even drug testing in their
yeah, God.
professional league.
And that was your experience of it. So it was random and then it was more
Mm-hmm.
selective. And like, I don't know, like, yeah, you don't want to, because it's horrible. Because your man, Pinar from the 1995, he's admitted to taking performance enhancing drugs during
Really,
that tournament. Yeah.
Francois Pinot?
Yeah. I
Wow,
read an
Matt
article that
Damon.
said that today. This is me, like, allegedly. Yeah. Matt Damon's on steads.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
we had a we had an American lad sign for us for injury cover over like half a season, like 3 or 4 months, and he arrived in, and Ruan Pienaar was there at the time, and he
Mm.
first thing he did was in the change room. He was a real confident American lad, and he went over to Ruan and he goes, "Hey Francois, nice to meet you." We were like, "Oh, you're such a yank." He thought you thought this was Francois Pienaar from '95 playing
Crazy.
scrum half for us. That's who he thought
Crazy.
this was.
Have you ever been, like, in a team where somebody's been pinged for performance enhancing stuff or anything like that?
No, no, I don't think so.
Mm.
And I think like there's and I've actually never once seen anything in any way suspicious in Irish rugby in Ulster in Ireland.
Did your lawyer write that?
I know that sounds very formal.
That was very Bill Clinton. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Uh, this is like the Epstein list of rugby, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
you're looking at me to name them.
yeah. But I don't know what happens. I mean, they've got 2 World Cups under their belt. They're sort of dominating world rugby, and could it
Yeah,
all be about to fall apart? I'd love to see, like, imagine it was just like hundreds of South African rugby players were all on steroids, and they had to like dip right down into all the like just the weediest, like
yeah.
at the World Cup. South Africa just show up with a bunch of like Prendergasts, and they're just like, oh no.
The problem is if you take apparently, I hear if you
Rumor has it.
yeah, apparently if you take it at any stage, like the effects last for years. Like you still
Yeah.
keep getting the benefits for years. So like
What's
they're
that
going
thing
to
of
continue to
cycling
win.
on and off? So it's like,
Mm,
is this is the thing of like, maybe they were on steroids when they were like 18, 19, 20,
yeah,
when they weren't being tested as rigorously, and then was when they could just come through, and then it's like they've built that muscle, they just need to like eat shitloads to maintain it.
yeah, yeah. I know. So
Don't
it's
know, because there are people who think like pretty much every professional sport is like riddled with it, and it's just who's getting away with it and who isn't getting away with
mm,
it. But it doesn't sound like that's your experience of rugby. But we should get a South African on.
yeah, and it does seem a bit like I know in Ireland we're kind of we're last to the party on a lot of things. You know, even get like restaurant owners go over to London and say, "Oh, this works," and they just bring that back and like completely rip
Yeah,
off all the ideas and the food and the menu
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. But then that happens in every other aspect as well. But so it does feel like if there was more happening in terms of taking drugs in the UK, let's say maybe South Africa, whatever. But
Mm.
then you'd imagine we would get some of that. But I've never once seen anything, which is a little bit unusual. If there was stuff going on with any kind of drugs
Mm.
in rugby.
Well, that's the official statement from Andrew Trimble. We'll crack on with these questions, and then at
Yeah.
the end we have a quiz for Trimble about Trimble at the Six Nations. First question comes from Ross Johnston. Now that Conor Murray has joined Strabane RFC as an ambassador, will Trimby join his local grassroots rugby club that also happens to be in the same league as Strabane? Bring Trimby to... Now, I don't know what this stands for.
I know what this is.
BHSFPRFC.
Yeah, so it's Belfast High School Former Players Rugby Football Club. I mean, they need to speak to some sort of branding Some sort of
You're
branding
never going to
consultant.
get Dornan invested like that.
Exactly. So that's not my team though. Well, it's not even really my team, but my young fella plays for Academy, which is BRA Old Boys, and my dad played for Academy back in the day as well. So that would be the team that I would play for if I wasn't allergic to playing rugby since the recent leg break.
Yeah, but we spoke about this. It's because you were playing once a year. The
Yeah.
solution is to play every week.
Imagine I just like, all right, that's it. I'm getting every week, and then I just break my leg every time I get on the pitch. That's what's going to happen. So I'm not taking your advice. Thanks.
No. But are you going to get involved as an ambassador? Do you have have you ever had coaching aspirations or anything like that?
No, not really. It's coaching's difficult. Like if you're coaching England, then there's maybe 3 or 4 different clubs within a couple hours drive from you. But over here, I mean, what do? You coach
Ulster.
Coach Ulster,
yeah.
And then if you do well, you maybe coach Ireland. But if things don't work out, you're just unemployed, or you're in schools coaching or something. But it's not what you wanted to do. So I think it's quite a turbulent career.
You have to be a PE teacher.
PE teacher, yeah. It's the graveyard for all coaches. PE teaching.
We have a hot take from Jack Murphy, who I actually grew up playing rugby with, and it's because on the for the love of rugby thing, it was like a hot takes episode, and mine was that lifting at the line out is boring and they should just jump. But his hot take is sin bin players should have to do laps when they're off for their yellow card or their 20-minute red or whatever. And I think I'd like to take this further and say that it shouldn't be a set number of minutes that you're off for.
Nice.
It's a number of laps.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Although that we're punishing props even more if they do get yellow carded. They're off for twice as long as the scrum half who gets.
You have to do the number of laps of the number on your back.
Oh, nice. Oh, very good.
I think that works quite well.
It's very close to working quite well. Just 9 is the one you're going.
He's getting away with it.
He's getting away with it.
Don't get yellow very often, apart from Casey, which is with his cheap shots.
Yeah, his big high shot. Big fella throwing his weight around. That works.
I think this is in because there is an argument of like 10 minutes rest, they're coming back fresh legs. And players sometimes, they do one of two things coming back from their initial yellow card. Either they come in absolutely recklessly trying to prove a point that to make up for it, or they come in and make a huge difference positively because they've had 10 minutes when everybody else has been playing a very intense game of rugby.
Yeah, and the lift you get from it. So that's why it feels like there's a lot of pressure on the team that didn't get the yellow card, because if you don't score, maybe you're getting to like 8-9 minutes in that yellow card, and let's say you maybe get 3 points or something, so haven't had a huge amount to show from it, and then there's this big rising moment where you've got your guy coming back on, you're up to your full complement, and you get a huge lift from that.
Yeah,
it feels like actually they've kind of dug in for 10 minutes, a couple of reset scrums, kick it down in the corner, maul, bit of kicking back and forth. You can easily waste 7, 8, 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you just bring your guy back on. We're back and we're ready for this again. Another big challenge.
Whereas you need him to be depleted when he comes back on.
Feeling sorry for himself.
You shouldn't be allowed to drink water when you've been yellow carded.
You should get abused. You should have someone
blindfolded.
Yeah, and roasted. Made fun of.
You should just be beaten up a bit. I think you should just get your shit kicked in.
Yeah, we want his confidence at rock bottom when he comes back on. Borderline mental health issues.
You should have to play, when you get yellow carded, you should have to play the rest of the game topless. Unless you look good topless.
Yeah.
And then you have to wear like a balaclava when you come back on. Or no boots. You should have an option when you get a yellow card. You can either go off for 10 minutes or you lose a boot for the rest of the game.
Yeah. How long? Well, this is the thing. Yellow card. Well, or someone else. You should wear someone else's boots. You should wear your left and your right and your right and your left.
Right. Swap your boots. Has too many penalties for offside. Repeated infringement. You swap your boots.
I'm serious. Swap them.
I like that a lot. I think
Yeah,
there needs to be more impact on the player
yeah.
personally for the
Any of
yellow
those
card.
suggestions will be good enough.
Next question from Evan Cashman. Thoughts on Andy Farrell possibly leaving post World Cup to go to Saracens? There was like rumors swirling that it was a big, like
Mm,
1.2 mil was what he'd been offered.
that's the
But
chat.
then Saracens like always denied any involvement of conversations with they went
Yeah.
Saracens went full like Jerry Adams.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they went hard out. It was yeah, it was
Yeah,
too.
but what do you think?
So Farrell is he's been Ireland's best coach, yeah, he's been Ireland's best coach ever. Let's say
Mm.
everybody has a shelf life. I don't feel like I'm ready to say goodbye to Andy Farrell yet,
Yeah, I know
but I
what you mean.
wonder, and I wonder if he maybe feels like, well, am I going to go dig deep again and start this whole kind of World Cup cycle for another 4 years? I wonder if he feels like change of scenery, something different, and then the big draw of him working with the Sun sounds like Owen
Yeah.
might be getting, and that was again the rumors, maybe people speculating, but I'd say he would really be excited about that on a coaching ticket with his young fella. That would be a great experience for him,
Yeah,
and
because they
1.2
seem to
million
like, yeah, and the 1.2 million.
between
Listen,
the two fellas each.
family reunions are lovely,
Yeah, don't get me
but
wrong.
and also it's Saracens. So not only are you getting 1.2 million, you're getting a house, you're getting a car,
Yeah, yes.
you're getting a property portfolio. Um,
Yeah, yeah. The move does make sense in a way, and it might depend, and he'll obviously have to make the decision way before the time. But I do wonder if they went out at a quarterfinal or they had like an agonizing semi-final defeat, and he thought there's more in this, and there's some talent coming through. Wonder if then he might be tempted to stay on. Obviously, the
yeah,
decision will
what's
have
the
to be made
latest
before
he
that.
could make that decision?
Yeah, it would be probably, I'd imagine, 6 months before, maybe a bit longer.
Yeah, because you'd need to World Cups autumn 27.
Yeah,
So there's no sort of autumn international. So you and then you're turning around for the Six Nations in like Feb or whatever.
yeah,
So I mean, I don't know what's in the contract specifically, but like if Ireland won the World Cup, touch wood, and he went, I'm retiring, and I haven't told anyone before right now, and I'm just leaving. Like I'm gonna go to Saracens. Like I'm leaving this job. Like really wouldn't hold that against him. Like I
yeah.
think it would be almost hard for him to stay
But
if they
retiring,
do well.
when you think of retiring, you think of, right, he's chilling out, he's sipping pina coladas in the beach. But actually going to Saracens, granted he's making big cash, but he's going week to week. That's a weekly grind for a club coach. And that's
Yeah,
actually a
it's a big
harder job.
workload. Yeah. More moving parts,
Yeah.
less sort of. Well, I don't know. I don't know how it would stack up in terms of like resources.
Mm.
Saracens probably have as good resources as the IRFU, maybe.
I'd say they'd be well resourced, all right. But still you're just going week in, week out, and you're
Yeah, it's
every
a slog.
yeah, changing room, meeting room every Monday morning, reviews. Like you need to love it, I think, to be that club's coach. To go from the lifestyle of an international coach. Not that he's cruising
Mm.
around when they're not playing Six Nations. Not that he's, you know, I don't
No,
know.
but it's not this like there's a sort of referendum on you every Saturday,
Yeah, exactly.
whereas there very much is with club rugby. And I
Because
know
he's so good. Sorry,
yeah,
go.
go on.
Because he's so good emotionally, I think it makes sense for him to go, right. We can plan and be thoughtful about the messaging, the tone, the environment, everything. Let's get ready for Six Nations weeks in advance. We know what every week, every theme is going to look like, every message,
Mm.
every, really be thoughtful around that, and then just create that perfect environment to get the best out of the guys. That international coaching suits him, I think, for that reason.
Yeah. I don't think I would be annoyed if he announced that he was leaving after the World Cup. Like, I would be probably disappointed and interested to see who comes in.
Yeah,
But I don't think I would be like, oh, flip sake, like you're leaving us in the lurch or whatever. I would go like, that might be good mentality wise of like this sort of Farrell's last dance
yeah,
thing. And when we get dumped out in the quarterfinal, obviously that'll be all the more frustrating. But
yeah.
I don't think I would be annoyed. Would you be like, oh, come, like,
Depends
you know
who's
what I mean?
coming, doesn't it? Depends who's coming next.
And
Um,
who is that? The name that probably pops into my head is O'Gara.
uh huh. Yeah, it's the name that a lot of us I think there's something like, not to get into get too deep in this, but there is something about RFU, pretty conservative organization. They
Mm.
buy properties in D4. That's the level of kind of innovation that the RFU
Yeah.
introduce. And Rog is a different character, amazing character, like fiery, good crack, emotional, like gets people, has the smart. He's just, but he's different. He's been banned from touchline a few times. You'd imagine that conservative D4 kind of posh Dublin thing that
Yeah, the
might
BlackRock thing,
yeah,
basically.
but
Yeah.
I think it should be. I think it should be that's not just the direction the RFU should go, but I kind of feel like rugby in general needs characters and personalities and like that.
He's
Yes,
like a
lads, you know,
strange guy as well. Like, like there's just something off kilter about him that I just think is like very interesting in terms of like interviews and like, and if like talking about building rugby as more of a global sport, I think he's just an interesting guy.
yeah, he's brilliant. There's a brilliance to him, but there's an
Yeah.
uncertainty to him as well. And I think RFU might see that uncertainty and think, well, maybe that's not for us. I think they absolutely should have. I think someone like Ronan
Yeah.
O'Gara would be incredible for Irish rugby.
I think that if it is Ronan O'Gara, the next Ireland coach, he should still have to do his like match day team talks in French.
In French, yes. Absolutely. That was amazing. Like French with the Cork accent, I don't think it was ever a
It's
thing until he just created it.
stunning. Stunning.
Yeah.
The Cork accent's been getting a lot of flowers recently. There was that video that went around the Jamaican community. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't seen this.
So there's like a Cork politician, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he had like a fairly rousing speech at the Dáil in Irish Parliament. And it's been shared around like Jamaican Twitter, being like, why does this guy sound Jamaican? It's class. Give it a Google after.
Yeah.
Right. Next, Blair Kelly sent us an absolute rake of questions.
Okay.
Thoughts on aligning the hemispheres in a global season, pros, cons. So this is this idea that the Southern Hemisphere play their club rugby in our summer
Mm-hmm.
and like we play in our winter, and whether there would be a benefit to aligning them. What are your initial thoughts?
It's easier for us to go our summer, isn't it?
I think it makes more. I sort of don't know why we keep talking about like let's play expansive rugby. We want to see the ball being thrown around. We don't want to see games like that Scotland Italy game where it was an absolute swamp,
Yeah.
and then we just continue to play in the autumn and the winter for years and years and years. It's like,
Yeah.
to me, it screams summer sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I don't really know why we're not doing that anyway.
Yeah. And then so aligning the calendars, Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere. To me, sometimes at the weekend I'm going, who's playing the top 14 and then the Prem and then URC, and I want like to follow Irish rugby. I have to
It's a
kind of
lot to
watch
keep a hold of.
off. There's a lot of rugby going on, and if you've got, and then Super Rugby started as well. I haven't even given it a sniff the last few
Yeah,
weeks
yeah,
because there's too much going on. Like anybody who's got kids, you can't watch all this rugby. For me, I quite like the fact that there's a bit of an overlap. So in the summer, whenever there's no URC, no domestic rugby,
yeah.
then that's my time for a rugby championship. And I know I'm seeing this not from the commercial perspective or the aligning the calendar for the players' perspective or whatever the ethos of the game, whatever we're going on. I'm just a viewer who just doesn't want to watch too much rugby at sometimes, and then no rugby in the summer. I just want always to have
It's sort of
the right
you'd
amount
rather
of
have
rugby to watch.
something ticking along the whole time. But
Yeah,
like I don't know, maybe if you had the sort of that second tier European international tournament in that sort of off season, as it were, maybe that's a good opportunity of like there's no other rugby on. We can really platform something that we want to platform and something that
uh-huh.
we want to build up in that sort of way.
Yeah. And then this summer, then South Africa and New Zealand are doing a proper. They're doing it's like a Lions tour where South Africa
Mm.
are playing club sides. Or sorry, New Zealand are playing club sides in South Africa, and then having a 3-test
Oh
series at the end of
wow.
it. So they're moving away from the Rugby Championship or the old Tri Nations as it used to be. And it feels like chatting to a couple of Kiwis, they're going, well, the Kiwis in South Africa, like that is the age old rivalry. But It wasn't Australia New Zealand was the rivalry until Australia just haven't been as good. It just feels like yeah.
Maybe, but also like if you're looking at in terms of like what like rugby isn't Australia's national
Mm.
sport. You know what I mean? Like they've
Yeah.
got their Aussie rules. They love rugby league,
Mm.
like maybe more than they love rugby union. And then they've got cricket on top of that. So it does feel like there's something to this New Zealand, South Africa. Like that's their thing, both of them, and that does feel pretty potent. And maybe it is just because Australia aren't or haven't been as good recently, but like I do like the idea that it comes down to like what means more to the fans, and I do think it probably means more to the New Zealand and South Africa like
Yeah.
fans and countries as a whole.
Yeah, and it's like playing to their strength. That is the big rivalry. That is the big one. That's the intensity, and just they're putting all their eggs in one basket, and it kind of feels like, well, hopefully Australia don't kind of lose out on
Yeah.
some commercial opportunities or even just development for pathways and stuff, and same for Argentina.
We'll do quick fire for the rest of these
Yeah,
questions because we've promised an hour every week, and there's absolutely no chance.
but it still might be
Um,
a PB. Even if we don't hit the R, we might
I
get a
think it
PB.
could be a PB. It could be a PB. Lovely. Second question from Blair Kelly. Your three favorite Irish players of all time.
Okay, so one of my favorite Irish players is Owen Redden.
Oh
Uh,
wow!
yeah, he's
I don't want to be rude to Owen Redden, but that has surprised me.
the reason why Owen Redden is one of my favorites is because we all know what changing rooms are like, and changing rooms are
Mm.
slagging, banter. You get guys who just thrive in that environment. You find out a lot about people. Owen Redden he's a social scientist. Like he just really understands the
Okay.
art,
Yeah.
the subtlety around slagging to the point, and just like not even just slagging, obvious, blatant kind of meathead slagging, but just like
Mm.
really getting in someone's head. So I don't know how many at times I saw him do this. He would just have these like psychological warfare moments where someone would walk into the room, and Redden would go, "Speak of the devil, and he shall arrive," and. When nobody had
My
been,
uncle does that.
yeah,
My uncle, when somebody walks in, it's even worse. He goes, "There he is now." Say it to his face.
exactly, yeah. So immediately, if you're that person, you're insecure, overthinking that
Yeah.
someone's been slagging me in this room. And then the other thing he does is if someone says something, makes a statement, then he'll turn to the person beside him and he goes, "See what I mean?" And he's just like getting in these people's heads. And the other thing, he also he takes it very serious. He's like a snooker player. If you're sitting down
Mm.
at dinner or whatever, he's thinking, I've got an hour here. I can plant the seed with this. I can just make sure I'm 2 or 3 shots ahead and just make sure I'm going to absolutely nail this lad at some stage. And if it's not going his way, he he just leaves. He just if he feels like this is unraveling a little bit, I'm not in control of the situation. Like because he's so into it. He's like, this isn't working for me, and now it's time for me to leave. I've been at dinner tables with him where he's just like walked off
That's
because
so funny.
it's not been on his terms. So
That's so funny.
yeah, he's my favorite. Another favorite of mine is Ian Henderson. So Hendy's
Class.
very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
clever, very, very nerdy about stuff, and me and him used to have this a couple of very, very funny conversations. I went to him one time and I said, you know that old rule that used to be where the ball's moving towards the touchline or in touch and goal, and
Yeah, and you can I tried to do that like one of my first games back playing rugby like last year, and I didn't know the rule had changed.
it's changed. Oh no, yes, it's changed. So
Nothing more embarrassing.
yeah, it used to be as long as the ball is moving, the ball has
Yeah.
to be continually moving. So there's been a couple of times I've slowed down and just make sure the refs just checked it to see is that ball definitely still moving. I said to Handy one time, does the ball ever completely stop moving? And Handy goes, well, what temperature is the ball? Because if it's warmer than minus
It's
273
vibrating.
degrees Kelvin, then it's obviously still moving. And I went, that is the most amazing thing you've ever said, Handy. I love it.
Tell that to Roman Pot. Well, actually, sir,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah. So
if you get your thermometer out and look at that ball, it's moving.
yeah, Handy's very, very laid back, half asleep half the time,
Mm.
but very, very sharp. He outsmarted Joe Schmidt in a meeting one time, where Schmidt asks the room something, and Handy quoted some statistic back to him, and Joe said he was wrong, and Handy said, no, I'm not wrong, and here's why. And it was just a brilliant, brilliant. Oh, we all gasped. We're like, oh no. And then just to balance up this kind of profile of Hendy, so clever, so sharp, but half asleep, really laid back. Later that day, we were doing a walkthrough. We were in Argentina at the time, in Buenos Aires. We were doing a walkthrough at the local in the car park actually,
Mm.
and Schmidt was delivering this message to us, and Hendy started to yawn, but I tried to disguise his yawn. And Schmidt goes, "Are you fucking yawning, Hendy?" And we're like, the balance in the universe has just been readjusted perfectly.
That's so good. And your last favorite Irish player of all time?
Who's my last favorite?
I can chuck in a couple. I
Go.
love like Peter Stringer. I think when you first get into like I was at the age where I was like young when he was very much nailed on Ireland's scrum half, and it was just like like just visually as like a child, you're like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
And how's he involved in this? Like,
And why is he passing the ball differently to everyone else?
It's a completely
Yeah.
different to anybody else who's ever passed the
Yeah.
ball.
He just did it his own way.
And then I love that he came back for Bath, just this absolutely stacked 40-year-old or whatever. Like, just so much fun to come back to.
Yeah.
Really liked him. I really liked seeing Cian Healy come through, like particularly those first couple of years of like he was so mobile and he could just like around the park, unbelievable, and this like incredible scrummager. And I was like, oh my God, like having these sort of star Irish players coming through. And then just a very like much less exciting, but I always had a real soft spot for David Wallace of just like, that's a man who's like just putting in a shift every single week, no glory, all guts, just loves the dirty work.
Yeah, freakish athlete. He was faster than most of the backs. He was unbelievable.
That's mad, yeah.
David Wallace, yeah. Cian Healy used to leave a sandbag at the bottom of the stairs. Every time he walked up the stairs, he had to put the sandbag on his back. This is as a teenager or something.
Mad.
Yeah.
Mad. We'll rattle through these. No more explanations allowed, just straight answers.
Yeah.
Your three favorite non-Irish players of all time.
I can tell you my least favorite. Vincent Clarke is one of my favorite. Just because he was everything that I wasn't. I just thought he was amazing.
Yeah,
athlete.
I'll chuck in another Frenchman of Sébastien Chabal. Just
yes, great
lunatic.
shot.
Like, but just again, I think as a child, visually, you just go, "Who is that man?"
Yeah.
Back to you for number two.
I'm gonna go. Cedric Hymans is equally my favorite and least favorite. Favorite on the field because he's just incredible. Least favorite because I tried to make small talk with him after a game, and he replied, "I know speak." I was there. All right.
Not even the language. I just don't speak.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Again, Brian Habana, real obvious shout from that era when I was first getting into rugby. But just those sort of, I remember just when I first started playing rugby, I was like, I'm going to be an intercept guy. That's going to be I'm going to be like Brian Habana because it was just like, this works. If you just stand where they're trying to pass the ball, easy pickings.
It's incredible it worked for so long and no one thought, I think he's going to intercept here. Stop putting it right.
The sort of centers of the world have a lot to answer for.
Yeah.
For
no
that
one
sort
else
of
has done in those days, obviously.
Brian Habana's dominance of like, dummy it. He'll go flying past you and then you're in for a try.
Yeah.
Dummy it.
Yeah, that's foolproof. No one once thought to implement that strategy.
Another non-Irish player, Schalk Brits actually is up there for me. Just like so much fun to watch. Always thought like he probably didn't suit international rugby in the way that he was a bit looser, wasn't really fitting into the South African system in that way. But like just so much fun.
He was the first kind of mobile, dynamic hooker, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, and smile on his face the whole time. I love seeing a rugby player like enjoying themselves because there's a lot of sort of like this is war attitude to rugby, and I've always been like, it is fun though.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Have you done three? You did Cedric Heyman and Vincent Clarke.
I'm struggling for a third, to be honest. A favorite. Mills Miliana was one of my favourites.
Yeah. How close are Scotland to being genuine World Cup contenders versus handy side that won't generally go past the quarters?
I thought this was a joke, this question. Did you?
Well, I think it's from a Scottish guy. His name's Blair.
Okay, Blair.
I think he believes it.
Yeah. Uh, they're not. They're not close to becoming World Cup. How
You
did you
sort of
describe
skipped a
them?
step there in like the Six
Yes.
Nations.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think so, Blair.
Yeah,
Um,
mine's the way
they
I
got to
think
get
again, handy
consistent.
side quarterfinals, but it's just this consistency and like I'd like to see them, really pushing for the Six Nations next year. But like I think that's what they're working on at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Question 5 doesn't really suit a quick answer. Has the game become too complicated rules wise? It's a complicated game. I think it's a simple game, but it's a complicated game in the nitty gritty, and I'm sort of like happy enough
Mm.
for that. It's always developing. Maybe yes.
I think it should.
But
They should try and simplify it if they can. There's a little
yeah.
bit of a snobbery to rugby that I think they could do without, and that snobbery comes
Mm,
with all the stuff we were saying before. These are laws, and I
yeah,
understand the
yeah, yeah,
laws
yeah.
and whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Is it feasible to reintroduce rucking? I don't
What
really
does that mean?
understand this. Maybe he has this thing of like, oh no, the ruck's not a contest anymore. Um, I think the ruck's probably one of the more competitive and fair aspects of the game.
Does he
I don't
mean
know.
does he mean like rucking as in like the where you used to actually ruck players out like you get lads like climbing go like mountain climbing and lads. Is that what he's talking about?
I have no idea. Blair answers on a postcard if you can tell us what any of that means. And last question from Blair: how realistic is a Club World Cup? How would such a concept work/succeed?
I don't think so. I don't think there's enough of you don't passionately follow your club enough to
No.
like I mean how many people in the URC travel when Leinster are playing a South African team? 100, 200 tops. Although if Ireland are there, it's everybody's on the plane, everybody's having a good time. It's World Cup time. It's
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. The Donald Doyle. I'd love a quick answer only. Are Wales back or are Leinster just shite?
I would say neither. I'd say sorry
Yeah.
on Friday night Leinster. It's closer to Leinster being shite.
Yeah, I also feel bad for like club teams that have loads of international players playing
Yeah,
those games during the Six Nations because you just go,
yeah. That
yeah,
whole Leinster front five. We're all youngsters. They're all they'll
yeah.
get there. But yeah, they
And
were
that's good that they get game time
yeah.
while the internationals are away. But um, yeah. What's the best match you've seen live at any level?
Best match I've seen live. Um,
That's from Harry Finch, by the way. So everybody gets their little
hmm.
shout out. I think my favourite was I went to see Ireland South Africa at Croke Park when O'Driscoll knocked himself out with a tackle towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
I think that was my first international rugby match, and I
Uh-huh.
just remember being sort of blown away by like it was real like foggy and like a nighttime game, and it felt like really, really atmospheric, really, really exciting. And I remember specifically that we also started a Mexican wave, which was pretty sick. There was like it was my youth rugby team went to Croke Park,
Yeah.
and we thought there's 20 of us, we can start a Mexican wave here, and we got a Mexican wave to go the whole way around Croke Park, which is very rude to the players on the pitch, but we had a nice time.
I think that was the game whenever Ireland brought out the new Puma like centenary jerseys or something.
Mm,
They were a little bit unique, bit retro looking, but they weren't
mm.
fit for purpose. They started peeling and ripping at the
Oh
seams, and we
no.
had to change them at half time.
Nightmare.
Yeah, that was a good game. One of the I want to go European Cup. Some amazing games in European Cup. I want to go Ulster in the final in 1999, the old
Mm,
Lansdowne Road. Or we could go Leinster Munster whenever Johnny Sexton screamed in O'Gara's face and signified the handing of the baton over to the next
yeah,
generation.
yeah. And I think we'll finish up with Trimble being quizzed on Trimble's involvement in the Six Nations, if I can find the right document. Here we go. To finish up the podcast episode, a quiz about Andrew Trimble at the Six Nations as answered by Andrew Trimble. Question number 1. You were first included in the Six Nations squad at the beginning of 2006 as an unused replacement against Italy. Can you name the 4 other Ulster men in that squad?
I'm not sure that's true, but let's go with it anyway.
That's so funny if some of this is just inaccurate and I've shouted out the name of this guy's stats company.
The first game of the Six Nations that was unused, was it? Right, I'll tell you the other Ulster players. It would be Neil Best.
Nope.
Rory Best.
Yep.
Simon Best.
Yep.
George Best.
Nope.
Tommy Bowe.
Yep.
Paddy Wallace.
Nope.
Kieran Campbell.
Nope.
Matty.
Older?
Yeah. Matty McCulloch.
Nope.
Who else?
I feel like this could be wrong as well.
Oh, David Humphreys.
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
1 week later, you made your Six Nations debut against France. Does that sound right?
Yes. That's
coming off the bench to replace what player?
Tommy Bowe.
There we go.
Yeah. Tommy
Correct.
famously got a 0 out of 10 in the paper that for that game. He fell over. We were doing a new defense and he slipped. 0.
And what minute did you get brought on? Do you remember roughly?
Second half. I don't know if it was half time or very short.
0 out of 10 and he's playing sort of 50 minutes of the game.
Yeah. I don't think it was that bad, but it was what do you call the
just
old
that
Irish
one
pundit?
moment.
Yeah,
George Hook. I think you mentioned this on a previous pod. Yeah. In your Six Nations debut against France, you scored a try. Which 3 Ireland players have scored a try on their tournament debut so far in 2026?
Balakoon.
Yep.
Tournament debuts. Michael Milne.
Yep.
And who else now? Not a Dogbo.
Softham.
Is it Chukwa?
Nope.
Softham. McCluskey?
Nope.
Who's the other?
Have I gotten the Softham wrong? Have I gotten the Softham wrong? Flanker?
No, probably not. Who is it?
Nick Timoney?
Yes, he scored off the McCluskey offload. Yes. Should have got that.
I was so nervous there.
No, you're right.
I was like,
yeah. Forgot about him. Jeez.
You started for Ireland 26 times in the Six Nations. Which Ireland player did you feature alongside most often in the starting 15?
Oh, wow. So who coincided with my appearances? Starts? This is...
Yeah.
I mean, O'Driscoll?
Nope. O'Driscoll is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th.
Oh, wow. I'm going to go Gavin Dempsey.
Not even in the top 10.
I'm going to go Rory Best.
Top 24 times. 24 out of 26. Your starts were with Rory Best.
Oh, wow.
Second is Jamie Heaslip with 22. Third, Rob Carney with 18. And then on 16, we have Johnny Sexton, Ronan O'Gara, Owen Redden, and Gordon Darcy. And then on 15, we have Paul O'Connell, Brian O'Driscoll, and Donnacha O'Callaghan.
Wow, all the big names.
All the big names only. Those are big names across the board. Owen Redden as well. What a thrill.
Yeah.
Conversely, which opposition player did you start against more often than any other? Hint, he famously scored against Ireland after charging down an O'Gara kick.
Who was this? Mike Phillips? No. Sorry.
Second.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who charged down one of Rogers' kicks? I'm so embarrassed. And now I'm starting to panic.
It's not who you would think. It's not who you would think. He's also Welsh. He wouldn't be a fan of this podcast, given how we speak about people playing his position.
Okay, he's in the front row, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, Welsh front rowers from 15 years ago. I have no chance.
A Welsh name, you'll get there.
Ian, Liam, Reese,
Gavin Jenkins.
He's the top, is he?
5. So 5 Six Nations starts against you. Everybody else in the top 10 is on 4. Mike Phillips, Leonardo Giraldini, Alessandro Zani, Ross Ford, Alan Wynne-Jones, Luke McLean, Andrea Mazzi, Quinton Geldenhuis, Chris Cussiter, Sean Lamont, Dylan Hartley, and Adam Jones.
Sean and Roy Lamont. I remember whenever I started playing, they were Lamont, and then after a couple of years, someone just rebranded them as Lamont. Do you remember that?
I think somebody went, no, they need to be more Scottish, actually.
Yeah.
We are halfway through the quiz. Of your 32 appearances in the Six Nations, 26 came as a starter, but how many of those starts came in odd-numbered years?
Oh my, this is chaos. I'm stressed out of my mind here. In odd numbered years. Jeez, lad. Out of
Well,
26.
think about the years where you played the most Six Nations games.
Okay, 14 played all the games. 06 played good few. There's a couple of even years for you.
Mm.
08, I'd say I was out of not in it. 09 wasn't. I'm gonna go. Slightly. Sorry, the question is how many
How
even.
many of the starts came in even-numbered years? Oh, no, in odd-numbered years. Sorry, how many of the starts came in odd-numbered years?
Okay, so I think it's gonna be less than half of 26. So it's gonna be like 10.
2.
What?
Once in 2007 and once in 2011. Your 24 other starts all came in even years. Isn't that
Wow.
mental?
Wow. That
There's some
is,
people talking star signs in the listeners right now going, oh my
yeah.
God.
Wow.
Very crazy. Excluding appearances at the Aviva Stadium and Croke Park, which venue did you play most often in your Six Nations career?
I wasn't in, only played a couple times in France. Didn't play in Wales much. I'm going to say Twickenham.
Twickenham with 6. So you had 13 at the Aviva, 6 at Croke Park, 6 at Twickenham, 5 at Stade de France, 1 at Stadio Flaminio, and 1 at the Principality. Which
Nice.
again is weird. I think
Yeah.
that's sort of bizarre. This is an easy, the sort of, there's a version of this question that's just very easy. Which head coach did you make the most appearances under in the tournament? But I'd first of all like to ask, which head coach did you make the fewest appearances under in the tournament?
Kidney.
Yep, with 8. And which head coach did you make the most appearances under in the tournament?
So I was more popular with Schmidt, but I was with Eddie O'Sullivan. I'm going to say Eddie O'Sullivan.
Yeah, 13 with Eddie O'Sullivan, 11 with Joe Schmidt.
Yeah.
In Joe Schmidt's first Six Nations campaign with Ireland in 2014, you scored 3 tries. Only 2 players in the championship scored more that year. Who were they?
In 2014, Mike Brown.
Yep.
And who would the other one have been?
The other one surprised me.
Johan Huget.
Nope.
Who's the other wingers? George North?
Nope. You're going in the wrong direction. Barking up the wrong tree.
As in go back towards Italy?
No, as in
geographically the wrong direction.
I'm thinking about wingers. He's on your team.
As in the Ireland team?
Mm-hmm.
O'Driscoll?
Nope.
Is he a forward?
Nope.
Tommy Bowe? No, he wasn't playing that
Nope.
year. Dave Carney?
Nope.
Rob Carney?
Nope. God, this is a real snub for the man who scored more tries than you in 2014.
Who was playing 12 that year? Would it be Darcy?
No.
Johnny Sexton?
There we go.
He scored more tries than me. He did not. In 2014.
Scored 4. Mike Brown and Johnny Sexton scored 4 tries each in 2014.
No, I'm gutted about that. Like that was my one year. And even in my one big year, Johnny still scored more tries than me.
Not even the top scorer in your team.
I'm so gutted. Yeah, I know.
You started a match in the number 11, 12, 13 and 14 jerseys in the Six Nations. Can you name the only other Ireland player to start in as many different positions in the tournament?
Gordon Darcy? No, sorry,
Nope.
It's not Irish, is it?
It is Irish, so another Ireland player who started in loads of different positions in the Six Nations.
Both wings in 13. Oh, sorry, in that same number of positions, but not those specific
same number
positions.
of positions, not the exact same as you.
Okay. Who would that be? Maybe Shane Horgan?
No.
Who would have
He was
played?
mentioned on last week's podcast briefly.
So he's current?
No, it was in a sort of retrospective.
Oh, Keith Earls.
There we go. 11, 13, 14, 15. So you played inside centre. He played fullback. Yeah. You're one of 4 Andrews/Andys to represent Ireland in the Six Nations. Can you name the other 3?
Andrew Sheridan.
No.
Andrew. This is annoying. Andrew's a very unpopular name at the minute.
These days, yeah. It's tough.
Yeah.
Good for
I'm trying
Andrews.
to rebrand towards Trimby at the minute. People keep thinking I'm a paedophile.
Well, the title's going. You could be Prince Andrew Trimble.
Yes. Right, come on. Who's the big Andrews, the big names? Give me clues here.
One of them's big, as in he's a big boy. Currently
Andrew
working
Porter?
his way back from injury. Yep, Andrew Porter. And then the
Andrew
next
Conway?
one. Yep. And then the other one, truly, I haven't heard of.
Right. And he's Irish as well.
And yeah, and down here it is Andy rather than Andrew.
And there's an Andy that played for Ireland.
Yep.
Andy. Who'd that be?
Ward?
Andy Ward, of course.
Ward?
Yeah. Yeah, that's Brennan Zach's dad.
As he likes to be referred to.
Yeah.
And finally, rank these totals from highest to lowest. The number of defenders beaten by Andrew Trimble in his Six Nations career.
Uh-huh.
The number of different shows, including matinees, on the upcoming Irish leg of Vittorio Angelone's tour. And the number of acting credits last week's guest, Jamie Dornan, has on IMDb, excluding upcoming productions.
Okay, so do it one more time quickly. Sorry.
Defenders beaten by Andrew Trimble in his Six Nations career.
Uh-huh.
Number of different shows on the Irish leg of my tour. The number of acting credits last week's guest, Jamie Dornan, has on IMDb.
Okay, I'm going to say I beat on average 1.5 players per game. So
Okay, so 26.
No,
26
32 games because he came off the bench as well. So
32 games.
Let's go 45.
45 defenders beaten. Okay.
Let's bring that. That seems a lot. Let's bring that down to 40 because you would have less dates than 40 definitely on your tour. Like 30, I think. Oh, 30 seems a lot as well. Oh, there's 5 in Belfast, isn't there?
Yeah, see, there's extra shows and stuff. It's not like 30 locations or whatever. It's like.
But I'm going to go 30. Seems about the right number for you. And then the last
30,
one.
So 40 for you, 30 for me. And then how many acting credits does Dornan have on his IMDb?
I'm going to say he's in between 30 and 40. So first, defenders beaten, credits for Dornan, and then dates for you in Ireland.
So you have them in the correct order.
Uh-huh.
I have 28 dates on my upcoming Irish
30 was
tour.
a great shout.
That's pretty good. Get your tickets now in April, particularly in Limerick. I don't know what the fuck's going on there, but I've booked a big room and it's going to be embarrassing. So 28 for my tour dates, 30 for Dornan acting credits, which is pretty good. And this is tough. I think this is the tough moment for you. Because it's 31 for you on defenders.
Less than one defender beaten per game for an outside back is a shameful statistic.
Oh, nightmare.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the end of our Fallow Week episode of Hands Away with Trimble and Angelone.
Huge amount of creativity for that quiz, Vittorio.
Shout out to Opta. God knows if any of the facts were correct, but we had a good time.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do more quizzes on pod.
We're writing quiz questions at the minute because we're doing this these pub quizzes, table quizzes around Ireland. We're doing Galway next week, and I was reminded of 2 of the questions for our quiz. We have written rhetorical questions for quizzes in the past, which sometimes is well received. If it's funny, if it's not, it doesn't. It's not well received at all. But 2 of the rhetorical questions that we've asked in the last period or last year were. Who was responsible for sending more people to Connacht, the Leinster Academy or Cromwell?
Yeah.
Is the first one.
Yeah.
The second one was, this was in Galway. We said, Caelan Doris is famously from Mayo, but if he played for Connacht, would they still be shit? So quiz questions aren't easy to write. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's tricky. Maybe give him a shout. I can't remember his name, but I know it's Opta is the company, but he was very helpful with that. And it was very good crack. We'll be back next week. Well, we should predict. We haven't done our predictions. This is always the end of the episode, and we've sort of forgotten. We did that. Did we predict last week for the coming
Um,
week? But have we changed our minds? So we have Scotland against France at Murrayfield. I don't think anybody's picking anyone other than France for that one.
it might be a little bit tighter. Scotland might get their act together, throw it around, score a few tries. It'll be a little bit
I'd
tighter.
like to
maybe.
see France pressed a little bit with a sort of free flowing, like somebody else who like enjoys that style of rugby.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen that. Italy versus England in Italy. Now, this is where I would love to see a scalp.
Wouldn't that be amazing? And it's not ridiculous.
Not off the cards.
I think we'll see a reaction from England, so it wouldn't surprise me as well if they really get their act together and just tighten things up. But who knows? Like, it's not ridiculous to think that Italy could get a win there.
Yeah, and I think England's scrum haven't been amazing.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to call Italy on that one. It's more out of hope than anything else, but I think I would really buzz off that. And then, the other one's the Friday night one. Sorry, I'm clicking in the wrong place in my diary. Ireland, Wales, of course, at the Aviva. I think, well, I think our main hope for that is that we see some interesting player selections like Doak appearing and Stockdale getting a run out again. I think this could be a real moment for Stockdale to do quite a lot.
Yeah, I'd like to see a Dogbo get out there. I'd like to see maybe Izuchukwu. I think we might see Dan Sheehan get a break and Kelleher come in here. Might do one or two things with the front row, but I also don't want to cause chaos and there be like 6 or 7 different changes.
Yes, because we've just had our sort of first good game in a while.
Yeah, no, that's not the time then. So now we've nailed it. Now time to build our depth.
Let's take that for granted from now on.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think Wales might just get their act together and make it a little bit more of a game. I think it'll be a little bit tighter than what we think, and that's okay as long as we play well. Then we're still in the same trajectory.
Yeah, very exciting. Join us next week to react to all those games and see how wrong we got it. Like I said, I'm on tour. Subscribe to the podcast. Do all the Spotify liking and commenting things. Comment if you have any questions or any bits and bobs. We might incorporate questions a little bit more if anybody has any good ones. And we'll see you next week on Hands Away with Trimble and Angelone. Goodbye.
Nice one, lads.